புல்லாகி பூவாய் புழுவாய் மரமாகி பல்விருகமாகி பறவையாய் பாம்பாகி கல்லாய் மனிதராய் பேயாய் கணங்களாய் வல்லசுரராகி முனிவராய் தேவராய் செல்ல நின்ற சித்தாவர சங்கமத்துள் எல்லா பிறப்பும் பிறந்திழைத்தேனே corpses that no one wants. Yeah. There are those too. Unwept and unmourned. That girl over there, she talked too much. This boy went out to fix his bicycle. Poor thing. Got shot. Random bullet came and hit him. It had his name. all over it. This girl dared to fall in love. They got her for being dishonorable. You know about that, no? Dishonorable? This boy, God knows how many there are like him. Most probably spent his last days in a dank prison cell in an airless police station. People think it's a sin to have anything to do with the orphan dead. They always come dump them here, always in a hurry, and always with a curse on their tongues. Huh? Not just family that does this, huh? Everyone. Police officers, government officer, some other officer, everyone does it. Folks who have nothing to do with the dead. Nothing at all. And yet, such hatred, such vileness. Huh? I still remember the sound of soft earth falling. I marked the place with the flower in bush. Pullahi puvai puruvai maramahi. My sister, she thinks I'm a bit soft in the head. I don't blame her. She says, those who bury the dead for a living do not cry. If they do, that's just bad news, no? Huh? Love. Go on. Love, Appa would say. To bury the dead is a labor of love. For here, on the other side of the wall, where all else is silence, the key is to not hold on, to let it all go. How does it matter? Tell me. How does it matter? Shouldn't matter maybe. But you know, it's a foul stink that blows here. Pursues you wherever you go, whatever you're doing. When you're talking, when you're singing, like I do, all the time. Whew. Especially when you're eating. Some days, I don't know if I'm eating what I cooked or dead flesh. The dead don't leave you that easily. They get to you. One way or another, they get to you. Just like he did. Murderer, traitor, lawbreaker. They said, my sister, she didn't want to have anything to do with it. cops. The cops, those fuckers, don't mess with them. She warned me. I was just so angry. Angry in the depths of my stomach like a coiled up snake. He looks just like him. In some angles, he looks just like him. Not that day though. That day his face was swollen and raw and dark. They get that way. When they're done to death, that's how they look. That day he didn't resemble anybody. Love's labor is hard, but it must be done. I was 17 when I turned graveyard worker. Torn and battered corpse. Done in by God knows whom. Must have been men in uniform. No one else can hate like that, my child. Appa used to say. A hatred that isn't personal, but insistently there. That's when he started to go blind and I started helping him out. My one elder brother swore he would never be a graveyard worker and he left. The next one joined the army and he left. Sister, poor thing, was so young at that time, barely a teenager, you know. And Amma, may she rest in peace, was dead by then. I smelled that corpse. I smelled that corpse before I saw it and I almost threw up. Appa said, you don't have to do this. You can still leave, he said. He was just so lonely, you know, just so alone. And I couldn't bear to see him so alone. It's difficult dealing with torn and battered flesh. Appa and Edward uncle, you know, from the next village, they once went on strike. They asked for gloves and masks. They formed a union and all that. Graveyard Workers Union, GWU. Huh? They even got what they asked for. I've never seen them wear it though, of course. It's there. Back there in the box, I'll show you later. Huh? How dare! How dare, said those who came to bury the dead. How dare you wear masks? How dare you wear gloves? The dead deserve their respect. How dare? Huh? Some days I have to drink myself numb. It's an art to convey the dead to their final resting place. That's an art. Not drinking yourself, no. I mean that too, but Appa would say, for the dead are burden too. Love, longing, fear, anger. God knows what held that one moment before it was all over. And we in turn bear them on. Things that shall never be known, but shall not die. We bear them. And they become ours. orphaned dead. Now, Appa used to do that also. Back when he worked in the city graveyard, they would send word and a bullock cart. He had to pile them all onto the cart. Sometimes there would be more than a dozen. Veins popping out of his forehead, breathless, he would ride the cart. Some days he couldn't even bring them here. He'd be asked to go somewhere, dig a deep, large hole, right? And just dump them all there. He hated that. He hated that lack of ceremony, that lack of respect. He hated that the police or army, they stood around and watched while he finished his task. Heart of hearts, I knew that it was these men who were responsible, that they were responsible for their death. And I was witness. I'm just tired. That's all he said for weeks to come. People come looking for their dead. Oh, you know there's no such thing as orphans, right? Nobody's an orphan. It's time. Time that makes orphans of us. You know that, right? So people come looking for their dead. They'll come and ask, I believe, did such and such person come to be buried here, right? Now, my father remembered some faces, but not all. There were so many, right? Your mother, she wasn't one to forget, he would say. It was her grandfather who started all of this graveyard work. Back then, when the British were still here, she had these notices in English and all that. My mother, she kept everything. Photos, wallets, talisman, things that the dead carried with them. My father didn't like that. What if someone came looking? What if someone wanted to remember? Let's just keep them, she said. And my father, he just left her to her collection. We've been here a long time. I was about 10 when we got here. Come unto me, all ye who labor and are heavily laden. That's what my grandfather wanted carved on his gravestone, and so it was. This is our family graveyard. Welcome. Welcome. Family graveyard. Natal home, you see? Yeah, take a seat. Comfortable? I don't remember faces, but fingers. No two fingers are the same. Long and slender, short and stout, awkwardly crooked. No two set of fingers are the same. And I just dream of fingers. Anyway, it's better not to see the face, before you burn. Because the corpse, it might be dead, but it doesn't burn that easily, right? You have to beat it. You have to beat it because it just jumps out at you, just leaps out of the fire. So it's better not to see the faces. I once beat a corpse to my heart's content, my soul's content. A man from a powerful political family, upper caste, of course. I still remember the time when he wouldn't let his worker's mother be buried here. He said, "You untouchables, don't you have your own graveyard? Huh?" I still remember them, standing on the road, not knowing what to do with the corpse in the rain. That man was ready to betray. His fingers were ready to betray for money, for woman, for the country. He would brag. He served in the armed forces, I believe. When he walked, the very earth withered away. Edward uncle used to joke. For the country, indeed. Huh? When that arrogant bastard died, they brought him here. The pyre was all set. The logs were in place. And once it caught fire, all you could see was this incandescent light. But the corpse wouldn't burn that easily. It was just jumping out at me, just leaping out of the fire. It was 2 a.m. I was tired. And I just beat it till my heart's content, till my soul's content. Beat it till he was down and out and wretched. Appa too held a deep anger within him. Unlike me, he never showed it. All the world is a graveyard, my child. All the world is a graveyard. And we're all children of the ashes. We're all children of the ashes, he would murmur. See, that was a long time ago, when he went blind. That's another story of how he went blind. I never quite found out what happened. Amma was still alive, and they would whisper in the darkness, and I would hear some snatches. They stripped him naked. Naked as the day he was born. They called his name as if he was a friend, a neighbor, as they did those unnameable things to him. And I was witness. I saw what no man ought to see. No wonder these eyes went blind. Not once did he curse them. Not once. They know not what they do, and they shall repent, he said. Amma just held him in the crook of her arm, whispered things in his ear, and put him to sleep, the way she used to do with us when we were little. Let the earth fall, light as gentle rain. Remember to let the grass grow. Kallai manidarai peyai kanangalai vallasurarahi munivarai devarai. It was us, Jaya, who saw it happen. She lives in that corner house, and she was home that day. They tied a yoke to his neck, and they tied him to a tree. One policeman on one side, another policeman on another, and they seesawed, like children do in the playground. The yoke broke and Siralan fell down, and they hit him with the same yoke for hours. Jaya didn't mean to be home that day, but she was. She's 6 months pregnant. She's very afraid. I found out all of this later, when they'd already taken him to the next village. They carried him like you would a dead cow, like a cradle, except upside down. They took him there to do something. Maybe they even wanted to bury him. But for some reason, they brought him back. What do you mean it'll take a little longer? When will your inspector come? Huh? Huh? Amma, she just loved Sirala. You know her, no? The woman in the last house in the last lane? You remember? She organized all the women against that landlord for a wage hike. You remember that? And the landlord said, "You come to my house, huh? And we'll discuss it." She said, "You come to the village square. We'll all come to the village square. We'll discuss it there." Okay? Huh? She just loved Sira. It was him who organized all the workers into a union. Not just this village, all 8 villages he organized. Amma always by his side. The word of advice, sometimes she would argue, She works so hard, organizing, cajoling, convincing these women to come, participate. No. She doesn't have a husband. That fellow left her long time ago. Yeah. They were always ready to protest, do a march, sit in, and Selvarajah always in front, leading. He had such a wonderful voice. I never went. Yeah, I never went to any of the marches. Yeah, she has a daughter. She's around 12. She used to come around before with her goats. One day the goats came home without her. They found her, hurt below the waist, near the abandoned temple. Tell you the truth, I haven't seen any of the union women lately. Chandra, Muniyamma, I know her. What a tongue she has, huh? Oh, I can't sit next to you on the bus because I'm untouchable. But you can take my money when I buy something at your shop. Money is never untouchable. No. Huh? Where we are there? Huh? All these men with their land and power and money and all that, they are so scared of Muniyamma's tongue. Petrified. They'll never admit it, of course. They say Selvarajah put her up to this. Now little do they know, it's the other way around. No, they don't know that. Huh? What do you mean wait a little longer? When will your inspector come? Just tell me what time he'll come. What if people are waiting there? What if people are waiting with corpses? What am I supposed to tell them? No, my sister's not there to take care of anything. I have to go. Yes, it was like a nightmare. Yeah, very bad dream. You see, you leave the graveyard, where I live. You leave and you go 3 miles like that, right? Then you get to that piece of land. Nothing there, just some cacti, some shrubs, just empty, red soil. Nobody goes there. Once in a while you see a police jeep or something. Otherwise it's just empty and... If you ask me specific questions, I'll give you specific answers. I don't know how I'll tell you all this. Time, it was hot. So it could have been 2 or 2:30 or 3 or... It was hot. It was quite hot and I went just like that. I wasn't feeling very good that day. I was feeling a bit low. Missing Appa, I think. Anyway, my sister said she'll take care of everything. So I went. What do you mean, why did I go? Just like that I went. You never go. Just like that I went. Right? You go like that, there's a pond. Skirting the pond. Yes, it was like a nightmare. You see, the thing is, I'm not one to have all these dreams and all that. I sleep soundly. What I saw that day, now that's what nightmares are made of. There he was on the ground, curled up like a little child. I touched him. And his body was covered in blood, with wounds everywhere. Swollen, raw, and angry. Selvarajah. That's when I realized that he was still breathing, He was still breathing. And those two came. Those two over there. Of course we know them. Who doesn't know them here? Who doesn't know them? They always come with the orphan dead. We thought it's a separate squad. No, it's not. We know them very well. So those two came. They came and I said he's bleeding, he's hurt, But he's still breathing. He's still breathing. Let's take him to the hospital. 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 They said I should mind my own business, that they know better. You're going to hear me out tomorrow. Okay. I'll just come back. They'd beaten him black and blue. I was beside myself with anger and worry. I couldn't stay there any longer, so I came back to the graveyard. That's when Madan came and told me everything that Jaya had seen. Jaya's husband had told me. Jaya and her husband are very shocked, very afraid. What did Siralan do for them to beat him so? What did he do? So much anger. So much hatred. What did he do? Madan didn't know. Come to think of it, neither did I, no? Neither did I. நாவை செங்கொடியாய் உயர்த்தி காற்றிடம் சொன்னோம் கேட்டுப் பார். கால்களை வேர்களாய் புதைத்து மண்ணிடம் சொன்னோம் கேட்டுப் பார். நாவை செங்கொடியாய் உயர்த்தி காற்றிடம் சொன்னோம் கேட்டுப் பார். கால்களை வேர்களாய் நிறுத்தி மண்ணிடம் சொன்னோம் கேட்டுப் பார். கேட்டுப் பார், கேட்டுப் பார். சீராளன் சித்தாந்தம் தெரிந்தவன், 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 தெரிந்தவன். சீராளன் சித்தாந்தம் தெரிந்தவன், தெரிந்தவன். Siralan drew people to him. Him and his friends in the union, they drew people to him. Their marches was always so strong and beautiful and powerful. They sang songs and they danced with drums and everything. Those songs, those words, Pushpameri once said, I am who I am today because of those songs, those words. You need to understand the world in order to change it. Siralan, he knew. He knew what needed to be done to change the world. And he wasn't afraid. So, after that policeman shooed me away, I just left. Then I came back. It must have been around 5 o'clock in the evening. When I came back, there was only one of them, the short one. He got really flustered when he saw me, right? I wanted to touch Siralan. I wanted to see if he's still breathing. He wouldn't let me. He started talking law to me. We've been looking for Siralan for a long time. He's an enemy of the state. We've been searching for him. Why search for Siralan? Huh? He lives here. You call him, he'll come. Why search for him? He's right here. I know his house. I'll show you. Why search for him? Okay, so that short policeman kept on talking. He went on and on and on and no, I can't repeat what he said. No, I can't because my ears refuse to take in a single word. They just clamped shut because his words were disjointed and confusing. No, it wasn't all about Siralan. He also addressed me directly. He said, Siralan is not who I think he is, that I should not be fooled, that he's a traitor, enemy of the state, and that if I continue to take pity on him, that would be a grave mistake. He threatened. Grave mistake. Of course that was a threat. What else is that? Of course that was a threat. You have to go to the city office now. You know, I'm just going to wait here. Can't keep going and coming, going and coming. I'll wait here. You go and come. Huh? You know, they insisted I could be termed seditious. That police officer, he puts words in my mouth where there are none. He calls me close and he says, Siralan went against his own country. We had no other choice. We had no other choice but to do this. Even if it was my own son, I would have done the same thing. Every day. Huh? Every day. His own son. Huh? He said, if I'm not careful, they could term me seditious. They who, his bosses, the big office. Haven't you seen this notice we brought out in all 8 languages? You know the notice? My nation's enemy is my enemy. Say together. My nation's enemy is my enemy. You all know this. Come on. Again, one more time. My nation's enemy is my enemy. Defend your nation. Sorry. Nation is as my mother and father. Say again. Nation is as my mother and father. Very good. Defend your nation without fear. Defend your nation without fear. Fight. Struggle. Victory will be ours. Whose? Ours. Victory will be ours. Ready? Ours, Papa. Victory will be ours. Comedy. Of course, I'm Siralan's comrade. Me and everybody else. Everybody in all the 8 villages are Siralan's comrades. Huh? Okay, so you don't want to know my opinion. You want to know what happened after 5 o'clock, right? Now, after the policeman threatened me, of course it was a threat. If you don't go around, if you keep going around telling people that you saw Siralan dead, I will make it known that you are as dangerous as he is and I will arrest you. Now, if that's not a threat, what is a threat? You tell me, what else is a threat? Huh? So you asked me to leave. What do you think? I left. I was anguished. I couldn't do what I do. My labor of love. Labor of love. It is what it is. You don't like me saying that. Huh? Because I'm a nobody. Maybe, yeah. But you know, whether you know or not, we know. All you policemen, whether you know or not, we know the difference between good and evil. How people live and how they die. Because everybody has to come here, no, to us at the end. Amma used to say, here on the other side of the wall, where all else is silence. You can snigger all you want, laugh away how much ever you want, but this is how we live. Among the dead, in the dirt and the stench of it all. You think we chose this life? We willingly said we want to do this only. Huh? You and yours that made us seek a living in death. That's why we do what we do. Our labor of love. Because the dead deserve grace. Grace that eludes us when we're alive. The dead deserve grace. You don't like me saying grace. Makes you uncomfortable. That man who killed his own daughter, this landlord who killed hundreds of defiant workers, that politician who killed off an entire people, even such evil must die one day. Huh? And when they do, they come to us. We may beat the corpse. We may beat it. But we wait. We wait till it burns down to the ashes. And grace? Grace is in the ashes, the cinders. I've seen you in church before. You've read your Bible, no? Surely. I've seen you before. Don't lie. I know. No, I don't know what they did to Siral. I don't know whether they burnt or buried him. Yes. I did it. When the policeman told me I ought not to hang around there, I stood around for a few minutes, and then when I saw him turn to light his BD, I went and touched Siralan. And that's when I knew that it was all over. No, that's not true. I knew even before then, but that's when I could say it to myself. That too not loudly. The words remained caught in my throat. I returned to the graveyard. Appa's soft white dhoti, favorite keepsake, a pot of water. I came back and I waited in the bushes for what felt like a long time. Then I heard these boots go towards the jeep, and I thought, this is my chance. This is my chance to do my labor of love. I touched his body and it was caked in blood and a faint smell of rot. I wiped his face. I dusted his neck and feet as much as I could, and I covered him in the dhoti. Must have been there for about 3 minutes when I heard the boots again. I don't know what happened next. When I came back the next day, Siralan was no longer there. I brought this pot of water. I sprinkled some water, got some soil, and placed it in the way that it is done in these ceremonies. And I did the same thing for the next 4 days. On the 5th day, they caught me. That's why they summoned me here. They've questioned all the union women, even old Muniamma. I'm worried for Jaya. She's 6 months pregnant. She's not used to a public life like I am. I'm very worried for her. They're wary of me. They won't meet my eye. They won't raise their voices. They're a little wary. That'll change. They always change, no? I know that they'll change. Oh, you're new. Where's the other inspector? Funny that you say that what's happened has happened. Honest, aren't you? Giving up on all your talk of law and order, law and order and all that. What should I say? That Siralan died of an unknown fever. Teach me to forget. Why don't you do that? and his heart is still warm in the ashes. If you don't assuage that burning heart, oh, compensation, that word. Huh? To whom? Nation, state, law. To whom? Who are you compensating? Fine pair you two are, you and that other inspector. He puts words in my mouth. And you just want to confuse me. Don't you? Death did not just happen. You brought death in your wake. And that is the truth. That is the truth. And to not tell the truth when you know it is to lie. To not tell the truth when you know it is to lie. To not tell the truth when you know it is to lie. To not tell the truth when you know it is to lie. To not tell the truth when you know it is to lie. மனிதனே நீ மண்ணாயிருக்கின்றாய், மண்ணுக்கு திரும்புவாய், மறவாதே, 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 மறவாதே. மனிதனே நீ மண்ணாயிருக்கின்றாய், மண்ணுக்கு திரும்புவாய், மறவாதே, 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 மறவாதே. மனிதனே நீ மண்ணாயிருக்கின்றாய், மண்ணுக்கு திரும்புவாய், மறவாதே, 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 மறவாதே. No, they know it's me who defied them. Obviously, they don't like that. Not just the police officers, government officer, collector. Martin says, the minister said, who is that graveyard lady? Huh? Who does she think she is? Prime Minister? Who does she think she is? Huh? They don't like it. I wanted to find Bakiam, I heard she's gone to the city to meet some people, most probably union leaders, I think. They haven't questioned her, not yet at least. But Jaya and her husband, they stripped him naked and thrashed him. She lost her baby. I know it'll be my turn soon. They insist that I speak. Even if I say I don't want to, they insist. They insist that I do. No one chooses this profession. I should have also left maybe, like my brothers. But this place with all its stories and Amma and Appa, I just felt tied down, but I wanted this to end with me. Don't want it to continue. Never got married, never had any children. But my sister, she's in love. They haven't found a date to marry yet. Very nice guy, he's a driver. She worries about me. The way I go around talking to the policeman, eye to eye, face to face, she worries about that. She thinks they'll take it out on him because he works for the government, you see. But he doesn't mind. He knew Siralan, held him in high esteem. He's the one who keeps his eyes and ears open, tells me what's going on in those offices. He's the one who told me about you all. He said, you've all come here to find out what happened? Huh? This may not be the first time you're doing this. This may not even be the worst that you have seen. Must have seen much worse. Go everywhere. Huh? But tell me, can you make them listen? Can you make them listen? Can you? Huh? Can you make them listen? Amma used to say, who's going to listen to a prophet? Who's going to listen to a prophet? You know things, you foretell the future. Who's going to listen to you? They'll just think you're mad. Who's going to listen to a prophet? Huh? Anyway, they are holding vigil outside Jaya's house. They've told her she should just shut up and they'll take care of the rest. But you must speak to Jaya and her husband, huh? You must go see them. Death doesn't end everything. At least the living remember the dead with the caste markers and other markers. Death doesn't end anything. I've seen those orphan souls. I've seen them many times. But to dishonor the dead, to dishonor the dead, what is that? What is that? And what is that death that Siralan was dealt with? What is that death that he was dealt with? They didn't want to grant him a decent burial. They didn't want to grant him that dignity. They wanted to just get rid of him. Like everyone else, they throw into those large holes, wipe out all trace of him. You see, he held a mirror. He held a mirror to their lives. Now, he didn't set out to do that. He had other things to do. But the way he lived, the things he did, the truth of it all exposed their lies, their pettiness, their love of death. They didn't like what they saw. They didn't like it one bit. So they got rid of him. Law, nation, state, they needed all these words to justify what they were doing. You see, if their law held Siralan to be a traitor, now, is that law a just one? Is it a just one? Huh? And what is that nation? That nation that we hold so dear all the time? What is that nation? What is it? If it's going to make them maim and murder like this, if that's the nation they hold so dear, the one that makes them maim and murder, I'm fine right here. I'm fine. in the land of the dead. I'm fine. You know, I never really thought of these things this way. Never before. But the past few weeks, something has changed in me. Something has changed. Maybe it's what Pushpa Mary said. You need to understand the world in order to change it. Maybe that's what happened to me. Love, grace, memory. Memory is passion and obligation. I'm just tired. I'm quite tired now. Huh? Pullahi puvai, Kuruvai.